Hello, readers. This is The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo, illustrated by Timothy Basil Ering, and it is the end of chapter 30 and the beginning of chapter 31. So we left off right about here. Do you believe that this will be Midge's fate? Oh, I hope not. What kind of story would this be without Midge? Listen, you cauliflower-eared fool, shouted Cook. This is what you do. You take the tray of food down to the dungeon and you wait for the old man to eat the food and then you bring the tray back up. Do you think you can manage that? I reckon so, said Midge. I take the old man the tray and he eats what's on it and then I bring the tray back. Empty it would be, then I bring the empty tray back up from the deep downs. That's right, said Cook. Seems simple, don't it? But I'm sure you'll find a way to bungle it, eh? Said Meg. Nothing, said Cook. Good luck to you. You'll be needin' it. She watched as Midge descended the dungeon stairs. They were the very same stairs, reader, that the mouse, Despereaux, had pushed down the day before. Unlike the mouse, however, Midge had a light. On the tray with the food there was a single flickering candle to show her the way. She turned on the stairs and looked back at Cook and smiled. That cauliflower-eared, good-for-nothing fool, said Cook, shaking her head. What's to become of someone who goes into the dungeon smiling, I ask ye? Reader, for the answer to Cook's question, you must read on. Chapter 31. A Song in the Dark. The terrible, foul odor of the dungeon did not bother Midge. Perhaps that is because sometimes when Uncle was giving her a good clouch to the ear, he missed his mark and delivered a good clouch to Midge's nose instead. This happened often enough that it interrupted the proper workings of Midge's olfactory senses. And so it was that the overwhelming stench of despair and hopelessness and evil was not at all discernible to her, and she was happily down in the twisting and turning stairs. She went happily. Roar! She shouted. It's dark, ain't it? Yes, it is, Midge, she answered herself. But if I was a princess, I would be so glittery, light-like, there wouldn't be a place in the world that was dark to me. At this point, Midgerisau broke into a little song that went something like this. I ain't the Princess Pea, but someday I will be the Pea-ba-bee, someday I will be. Midge, as you can imagine, wasn't much of a singer, more of a bellower, really. But in her little song there was, to the rightly tuned ear, a certain kind of music, and as Midge went singing down the stairs of the dungeon, there appeared from the shadows a rat wrapped in a cloak of red and wearing a spoon on his head. Yes, yes, whispered the rat, a lovely song, just the song I've been waiting to hear. And Roscuro quietly fell in step beside Midgerisau. At the bottom of the stairs, Midge shouted out into the darkness, Gar! It's me, Midgerisau! Most calls me Midge. Delivering your food. Come and get it, Mr. Deep Downs. There was no response. The dungeon was quiet, but it was not quiet in a good way. It was quiet in an ominous way. It was quiet in a way of small, frightening sounds. There was a snail-like slither of water oozing down the walls, and from around the darkened corners there came the low moan of someone in pain. Oh! And then, too, there was a noise of rats going about their business, their sharp nails hitting the stones of the dungeon, and their long tails dragging behind them through the blood and muck. Reader, if you were standing in the dungeon, you would certainly hear all of these disturbing and ominous sounds. If I were standing in the dungeon, I would hear these sounds. If we were standing together in the dungeon, we would hear these sounds, and we would be very frightened, and we would cling to each other in our fear. But did Midgery Sow hear? That's right, absolutely nothing. And so she was not afraid at all, not in the least. She held the tray up higher, and the candle shed its weak light on the towering pile of spoons and bowls and kettles. "Gor," said Midge, "look at them things. I ain't never imagined there could be so many spoons in the whole wide world. There is more in this world than anyone could imagine," said a booming voice from the darkness. "True, true," whispered Roscareau. "The old jailer speaks true." "Gor," said Midge. "Who said that?" And she turned in the direction of the jailer's voice. And that's where we're going to stop for today. Readers, I want to know if Midge is going to get to talk with Gregory, and I want to know if Midge is going to get to talk with Roscareau and the rest of our characters. Have a great rest of your day.